How deep is the Lost Reality's connection to the spirit realm? Some people were shocked to discover the spires are sentient beings, but I always suspected it given their geometry. In this universe, geometric shapes tend to be sentient beings, just like the cubes who are also sentient. The spires are currently causing an issue across the Omniverse. In Fortnite Expeditions, Jade says the spires are anchoring the spirit realm to this world somehow, drawing power into themselves and spitting out those masked demons. Taking them out has to be part of what can free Daigo, and they literally seem to be anchoring themselves to this world. But what Lost Reality connections do we have so far? Well, the spirit realm is related to the Storm King. Maskmaker Daigo has minions from the Spirit Realm and Storm King's world. If the Maskmaker Daigo's minions weren't bad enough, now he's got the Storm King's beast working for him. Now, the first mention of a spirit realm in Fortnite actually happened in Chapter 2 Season 8 and was mentioned by the Oracle, Dark Jonesy. The IO has scrolls that speak of a spirit vessel. This is it. The spirit vessel is not an artifact of this world. We must reach between realms. Wielding a powerful relic has its costs, but we must bear this burden to get the answers. The spirit vessel must be charged. The dark energies of these cubes will do nicely. Excellent, the spirit vessel is now ready for the next part of our plan. This insinuates the cube's dark energy is a viable power source for a spirit vessel to allow the Oracle for his visions to return. And visions also seem prevalent in the discussion of spirits. Although the sideways blocks the spirit world's energy and we need to break through. I've re-established my connection with the spirit realm, my vision is clear again. Essentially also what Dark Jonesy is going on about when he says reaching between realms, you have to use a shadow stone in order to get this. Something I want to point out, during the Ariana Grande concert, we go into something called the memory tunnel, and the Lost Reality scans our memories. I wonder if they used spirit realm energy to be able to achieve this. And during that event we do run into the Storm King. My favourite bit of soul lore is the Spire Guardians, or the Guardians of the Spire, and obviously the Spire Assassin, who's a guardian of a world beyond reality. Interesting. We also have a chromium edit style and the runic one as well, which shows a more of a purple glow, I suppose. Very intriguing. We have the Soul's Reach back bling, keeper of the Spire's flame. We also have the pickaxe, which is a glow with a mystical flame, and the back bling slash glider, the Spire's fire, the burning flame of a long ago sacrifice. And all these hands as well are very interesting. And the fact where the seasons go in next season with the bugged theme season, the fact that the Spire Guardians are very much influenced by bugs, literally a cocoon, we've got wings. If you see the actual list, seems like a bit more of a moth sort of feel, or butterfly sort of feel, and you can see it when it's closed here and then it obviously opens up. I do wonder if the Spire cult will return next season for the bug theme season, and next season will tie into their origin. But talking about a Spire's Flame, rather interesting point to note about the event we had a few seasons ago with Shogun X against Daigo, that turns into a flame, which strange enough Raz can also do. More on that later, talk about the Spire. And of course we're trying to establish connections between the Spirit Realm and the Lost Reality. But of course that's why I mentioned Spire Guardians. According to Rebirth Raven, those Guardians won't let me near the Spire. Why? Are they protecting the Spires or me? And of course, according to the Spire Assassin's tagline, never protecting a world beyond reality. Which of course the Lost Reality manipulating Raz meant the Spire Guardians would fail. And of course the implications of Raven saying this, because you probably wouldn't want Raven or her lineage getting anywhere near a spirit realm, or indeed a 0 point to be fair, because that wasn't there at that point. Of course she is the daughter of Trigon, a demon. And of course, as we know, the spirit realm isn't evil, but at the moment the dark presence is near, corrupting the spirits. And let's go back to that flame for a second, because the Spire Immortal, the Spire's power leaves a dark and unforgettable, but easily interchangeable mark. And then a few seasons later, Dark Jonesy is talking about going in between realms to retrieve a spirit vessel. So both outcomes were someone messing with something they shouldn't, and they got burnt. A lot of this happened in Chapter 2, and of course in Chapter 2 we had Shadow Midas from the Realm of Shadows. Something interesting as well, we mentioned a lot about the Spirit Realm, but not the Spectral. Now Jade talks about the Spires grounding themselves to this reality, and Fantasm says the same thing in his quests. To stay bound to reality, you must connect my energy to the earth. From the thin air to flesh and bone, we will build my body anew. My spirit will fill my form as effortlessly as water fills a cup. And the in-game description for Fantasm is a spectral echo in search of his next physical form. He is searching for a new body. Fantasm is from the elemental Indolin set, Indolin meaning spirit. I'm slightly getting excited and off topic here. We need to get back to the last reality and see their connection to the spirit realm. And we need to talk about the cubes because I think they have a massive connection to the spirit realm. It's a theory, but I stand by it. These cubes are not just sentient. They are powerful ancient beings tied to something much deeper. And I hope that's intrigued you. And if you are intrigued, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Take the Chalice of catastrophe, an ancient artifact capable of literally rendering an island in two. And the cubes created this chalice. Honestly, you may disagree with my theory about the cubes being tied to the spirit and spectral realms, but I do believe people underestimate the cubes because they're powerful and they're smart and they fight with honor. In my opinion, this power doesn't come from raw energy alone, but from a deep link to the spirit realm and spectral realms, flowing through the very fabric of our reality. And I believe that the spirit realm and spectral realm is what gives everyone their powers. And I believe this power is linked to all what we see. The distinct colours of the cubes, the rift butterflies, the 0 points bloom, suggesting a deeper connection between these unknown forces. So essentially you see a purple cube, a purple rift butterfly. You see a blue cube and a blue rift butterfly. They are in essence tapping into a elemental force of spirits, spectral, or indeed something else. I hope you guys are following. The Chalice of catastrophe was once a vessel for Aurela, who transformed herself into a spirit and altered the chalice. Fortunately, it was sealed away before it could fall into the wrong hands, and Aurela was placed in a fork. Strange enough, the chalice was brought through the rift gate by Dahlia. Actually, what's the implication there then? She does tell Triarch Nox now empires are built in the shadows. And it is confirmed that Triarch Nox was working for the last reality and Triarch Aura couldn't understand why. More on the Triarchs later on in the video, by the way. Then there's the last reality. A force that doesn't just consume worlds, but manipulates them. It's a game for them. And I believe the last reality manipulates the spirit realm. The cubes, on the other hand, I'm not sure if the last reality manipulates them, and they seem very willing. The cubes aren't really good or evil, they're more like warriors with a code. When we defeat the cube assassin, she says, "You're formidable. The cubes reward your loyalty." And that wasn't a thank you, that was recognition, a mark of respect from a force that is powerful. And the same season during the convergence, the cube assassin goes, "So you've seen them. You understand their power." Yeah, I wasn't bugging out when I said the cubes are smart and not to be messed with. King of the cubes, he had all the power, but yeah, he didn't realise the cubes devour, he walked away. But it was no use. And that does actually imply that he thought he was in charge. Interesting. But it's really the cubes. But for the nothing. Back in the day I did say the Cube Queen was also a puppet, so that makes sense. But the reason the whole convergence was possible was because of Raz. We know Raz was corrupted after discovering an ancient artifact, a piece of the Spire's core, clearly tied to the last reality. And Raz's codename was Cube Thief. And earlier in the video we did discuss about Raz being able to drain the player's health as well. Also, if you haven't noticed something about Raz, he has a mask. These pesky masks that keep popping up in the Fortnite storyline here, there and everywhere. Which is why when Bites turned out to be a warrior of the last reality, I did speculate that Drift may have been a warrior of the last reality too. And I did say the mask contained a evil power. Although a lot of people were telling me that no, Drift is a good guy. And that's not what I was saying. I'm saying the mask could corrupt him. I'm not entirely sure if he did get corrupted. I know his girlfriend Brightbomber did, but we did eventually get the Drift Walker, which that set came with a glider with the tagline "Fly forth from the last reality." One of the most intriguing examples of the cube's energy didn't even happen in Fortnite. It happened in the Universal Monsters crossover. Yep, another collab. This one fought off a colourless void that was turning the world grey. It granted powers to monsters resurrected Frankenstein and actually recolored the world. People can argue it's just a coincidence or it's not connected, but do we want to doubt Donald Mustard Fortnite lore era? If you want to, you can in the comments, and don't stop me. But guys, something I quickly want to say. I love the support on the channel recently, the subs, the likes. So thank you very much, guys. If you want to support me even more, consider using creator code MRJLY in the Fortnite item shop. Thank you. #ad. I'm also convinced that every power we see in the last reality is rooted to the spirit or spectral realms. Even the Daigo and Storm King team up makes so much sense. For Supernova Academy's origin story starts with the spirit realm portal spilling and gifting powers to people. Now the spirit realm has that much power, it can gift individuals powers, including one it makes into a storm beast. That's exactly the kind of behaviour the last reality is familiar with. Because as I theorise, the last reality doesn't create power, it steals it from the spirit and spectral realms. And now the nothing is coming. And we haven't even discussed the chrome there and how I think that also ties into souls. When the chrome first appeared in a trailer, we didn't know what it was. The name chrome hadn't even been uttered yet, but I believed it looked like mercury. So when I began theorising, I tried to ground my theories to mythology. And that led me to the Roman god Mercury, because it looks like liquid mercury. Hear me out. Whose Greek equivalent is Hermes. They are both heralds of the gods, and more importantly, they are psychopumps, spiritual guides tasked with leading souls to the underworld. So we got a character literally named the Herald who controls a substance resembling liquid mercury and leads the Seven to a fate darker than the worst imaginable. Strange, very strange. In Chapter 3 Season 4, the trailer, we see the chrome engulf the Seven, but eagle-eyed viewers may notice something subtle yet important: the line bond of chrome. But a quick point, chromium, a name given to a Raz edit style and a Season 1 skin, is a real-life element. This connection suggests the Spire may have been made out of chrome or chromium, and here's why it gets even more interesting. The bond line or the pattern seen in this trailer closely resembles the Last Reality logo. I believe that was intentional, but maybe not for the reason people think, or only half of it. Could the cubes be made out of chrome? Now I want you guys to remember this point. What's more spiritual or spectral than a biblical angel? And I want you to remember that point. Now the Last Reality logo is actually very multi-layered. I believe it does have ties to sacred geometry like the Metatron's cube, which is also maybe hinted at in the new quest texture which showed the Spire. Not the Metatron cube, just sacred geometry. Now indeed chromium will have a crystal structure, and the shape of that crystal structure does kind of look like the Last Reality logo. If indeed you imagine this 2D shape as a 3D shape, and I do believe that this 2D logo is a 3D object that will one day appear in Fortnite. So you're telling me the Last Reality logo, and that does look like a 3D cube, also has chrome as part of their army, and that chrome is a real life element that will indeed have a crystal structure like almost everything else. So basically, is chrome more connected to cubes than we think? But the reason that I do mention the biblical accurate angels is because if you look at this logo and then make it a 3D object in Fortnite UEFN or something, I have to say, that would be terrifying. Guys, it's just a theory, but just before I move on to the next point, this chemical structure of a molecule is very much deliberately put here, by the way, because that's what it says. This is translatable. We know Imagine Order, well, a bit weird that the Seven are using it, but we do know Imagine Order language, thanks to the Chapter 2 end event. Of course, cubes are not always solid objects, and they do have the power to transform into either a liquid or literally lightning. And that's why I was so excited when I saw this new quest texture. And I completely understand this being a little nerdy, as well as very loosely established in Fortnite, if not at all. And I have mentioned this in recent videos, that Fortnite has gods, the 0 point, of course, the nothing, but we also have lesser gods like primordial gods, the first gods, and the Greek gods, the Norse gods, and that will all be part of that hierarchy of beings. So in my head, again, because of what we know about the nothing sounds like chaos in Greek mythology. Chaos is not a god nor a person, but a primordial state, formless, gaping void, or chasm. And from chaos sprang the first primordial beings, Gia, Tartarus, Eros, Urbis, and Nyx, who actual Roman equivalent would be Nox. Make of that what you will. And the closest beings in Fortnite to that would, in my mind, be the Triox. And it's not, just look at the Triox. Like, whoever designed and drew the Triox, if they wasn't using sacred geometry or biblical accurate gods, Ezekiel and that sort of stuff, I would be surprised. We see the shapes, we see their designs, and to me, that's what they embody. But all these things are cosmically tied to realms. Even the Triox backstory talk about them ruling a realm, and they all had a job to do. Dusk, Dawn, and whoever the third Triarch is would probably be around that. Like, to me, it's so on the nose that I can't ignore it. That these beings in Fortnite taps into them realms, and one of them being the spirit realm. And I believe the Nothing wants it. The last reality wants it. Literally everything I outline in this video is one of the reasons that I believe the Dark Presence would, in my eyes, be the Nothing. I mean, it could be Geno. Geno has tapped into spirit realm power before, or he has some form of a power source. I believe he's associated to one of the Pathians or one of the gods in Fortnite. He is in that sort of lineage. Or no, back to Geno possibly losing the spirit realm, because he does have a cube with him in the Imagine Order base. He also has golems, which had cube runes on them, protecting the Imagine Order base. And I believe, obviously, going back to the silly tinfoil hat god hierarchy we have, I think either Geno is part of the Greek or Norse mythology gods because of how he appears in game, or not in game, to be fair, but how he appears in the comics. And the likeness the Aegis has with the Odyssey. Oh no, I did see something today that the Aegis's concept art looked Nordic. A bit of Norse mythology going on there, but could be a bit Archangel at the moment, to be fair. I reckon the cubes, the Rift Butterflies, are all connected to a spirit realm, or that's where they gather their powers from. And the last reality taps into it. But guys, I do hope you enjoyed this little rambling. If anyone has anything to add, please comment down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and again, please consider using my support creator code. It does really help me out. It helps me make this content more easier. So, MRJOY. Hashtag ad, hashtag partner. Until next time, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.